Hallo jeder, mein Name ist The Strangely und willkommen zu einem Daras video. So, I've been playing a lot of Wolfenstein recently, and I really wanted to talk about it. So, about 4 or 5 years ago, they had Wolfenstein 3D on the PlayStation Store, and I don't know if it's still there, probably is, but it was like 10 or 12 bucks when I bought it. But I wanted to buy it because it was one of those original kind of PC first-person shooters, you know, stuff like Wolfenstein 3D and like Quake, Doom, Duke Nukem, stuff like that became really popular and sort of like set the groundwork for what would become future first-person shooters. And I really enjoyed playing the game. I didn't really get very far. I would only be like kind of in the first, I guess, world or like the first few levels of the Wolfenstein castle. But it was really fun to play, especially because you didn't really have to like aim up and down. In fact, you couldn't. It was just left to right. And so it was actually like kind of easy gameplay, but with just a challenging curve. But very recently, I listened to a song by Dan Bull that kind of rocked. It was awesome. In fact, I included it in the recommendations for last week's video. It's the song that he did for Wolfenstein the New Colossus, which is the kind of sequel to this game. The music video features a lot of gameplay from Wolfenstein the New Colossus, and I realized that BJ Blazkowicz looked a ton like BJ Blazkowicz from Wolfenstein 3D. And so I was like, oh, that's kind of fun. And so I like was looking up the trailer for both this, because I knew that the New Colossus was a sequel, so I looked up the trailer for like the New Order, and then I looked up for the trailer for the New Colossus, which I hadn't seen since the New Colossus was like announced at E3. And the game looked amazing. It was visually impressive. BJ looked like BJ. And I was like, okay, well, I like Wolfenstein, and I haven't bought a game since Injustice 2, so maybe I'll just get this. It's like 20 bucks on Amazon for you know, the main game plus the DLC, so like, why not? It'd be fun. So I may be like 3 hours into this, and this game is fucking awesome. To be more specific, Wolfenstein the New Order is very much like Wolfenstein 3D in the way that the gameplay works and how the world is presented to you. Obviously, it's like World War II, Nazis win World War II, it's the whole sort of like that idea, but it still keeps a lot of the kind of goofiness of Wolfenstein 3D. And what I mean by that is like the collectibles, and then also like using whatever in terms of food, including like dog food as health, or using things like scraps of metal that you get off of like the big metal Nazi juggernaut dudes as like armor and stuff like that. Like stuff from the original Wolfenstein game has kind of translated really well into this new game, which I wasn't expecting it to. I was expecting this Wolfenstein the New Order to take itself really seriously, and I was expecting itself to be very like grounded in reality, which it is, but that's only because it looks like reality. But really, it's like very strange. It's very crazy, and even goes beyond just like Nazis winning World War II. Like, it's the science that they have even in 1946 when the game begins. It's like so above and beyond like what soldiers and stuff like that are doing now. And so it was a really like heightened version of reality that was really like fun to play in. The running and gunning is effectively the same. A lot of the sort of like you can go around corners and stuff like that is really cool. And the game does reward people who play it stealthily, but the game also functions really well for those who want to just run and gun, because there's a lot of like overcharge and a lot of health that you can find all over the map. But the game is very fast-paced, so it kind of works that would make sense. Everything, it feels like you're doing something to stop you from dying, or from your whole team to dying, or the end of the world. And so everything's like very fast-paced and heightened and like dramatic and intense, and it's like really gripping to play. And that what's making me like just kill through the story is that it's so tense and so fast-paced. It's like grabbing me by the edge of the seat. It's great. And then on top of that, the game itself, when it does take itself seriously, is really touching and really beautiful. The cutscenes in this game are like movies. It seems like a more personal, intimate, for lack of a better term, relaxed version of like Inglourious Bastards. And what I mean by that is just like, you know, that's also another kind of revisionist history of World War II. So, but then it keeps, like I said, it keeps a lot of the goofiness with the collectibles and stuff like that, but even like paintings will slide over, and those are like secret passageways, and like when you open a door and a Nazi's like walking by the archway, they're like, oh, and they like come back around and they're like, there's him, and they start shooting, which they did in the Wolfenstein 3D. So it has this sort of like new but vintage, like nostalgic charm to it that like really just it's kind of warming as a person who played the original game. But I do really highly recommend the game to anyone who really enjoys first-person shooters. Like I said, you can get both these games right now on Amazon for like $20 in a kind of a collected pack, and it's really cool. The only problem that I have is that it doesn't come with a booklet. It doesn't come with a booklet. It comes with instructions on the back of the cover, and that's kind of dumb. Anyways, guys, I know that this video is kind of weird and doesn't really have a point, but I just wanted to get a video out there because I'm actually in between projects right now, which is really exciting. I'm gonna have a really fun video coming out next week, so look out for that. But in the meantime, if you like this video, go ahead and put a thumbs up on it. If they bring back the rating system, go ahead and give this video 5 stars. Whether or not they won't. In the comments down below, if you've played Wolfenstein, tell me about your favorite memories about Wolfenstein. Or if you have any other game that you want me to play, please let me know, because I really liked making my Super Mario Galaxy video, and I really like making this one. So do that, because I like playing games and I like talking about them. So I think that's gonna be it. So I will talk to you all later, and auf Wiedersehen.